welcome to All Four Downs. I am Joe Aguirre. Ovi Muniz will join us in just a minute. Boy, what a week of college football. It is all SEC all the time. The Qs almost pulled it off. I was snoozing. We'll tell you about that. In second down, we're going to tell you who's going home with that Heisman Trophy. Third down, we'll give you 5 big games this week. Fourth down, man, what's with these kids running out on the field, taking goalposts down, and why are schools getting fined for it? And then finally, UCLA and USC are headed to the Big Ten, and it's pissing off a lot of people. I'll tell you exactly who in the final whistle. All right, OV, as I told you, dude, I fell asleep with Syracuse up 21-10.
How you could be a fan of the Orangemen and just snooze? How you do that?
It's a long day. It was a long day. It was laying with the wife. She was letting me watch college football. It was great. The Qs were up. It was amazing.
Right.
And I fell asleep. I never do that. And I woke up, and all I wanted to see was the biggest upset in Syracuse history. And I saw they benched Ugalele.
Yes, they did.
And then somehow came back and beat the Qs.
Well, we're going to talk about Ugalele afterwards when we start talking about the Heisman on third down. But Syracuse had a chance to pull up an upset. Now, yes, we got to give credit to the Clemson defense for making the adjustments. And on the other side, the morale of the team in Syracuse kind of like just dropped down. And it's almost like they went on there with no energy. Okay. And that's what allowed Clemson to make that comeback. But they somehow, that last possession, I can't stress this enough, they were moving down with the ball. No timeouts for either school. How? With seconds left, how's there a stoppage and with no explanation? And at one moment where Syracuse Orangemen hurried up to the scrimmage, they were about to hike the ball. They couldn't. The referee was still with his feet between, the ball between the legs, like, hey, don't hike it yet. And I'm like, come on, let's go. And no. And there was no explanation. We were just waiting. Everyone's waiting. Everyone's confused. And then saying they let it, and the next thing you know, interception. I'm sorry. There's something that has to be done to fix this part. There's one thing about, yes, I know, the safety and everything else, but when there's some nonsense stoppage with no timeouts, there's no excuse.
Yeah, it was a suspect move.
Suspect indeed.
Yeah, listen, that's how college football is, though. I think everybody knows what's at stake.
I'm sorry, man.
Saturday.
I was never so upset. I'm not even an Orangeman, but yes, my ticket was from favorite for the Orangemen, which, by the way, I did win with the Orangemen. They did cover the spread. But the point is that once you're in the game and you're watching it go through, you'd be like, oh, here it is. Like, it's going to happen. And like I said, I'm not a fan of either team, but the game was so good that ended so sour. That's not right for football. I'm sorry.
No, it was a tough way to see that thing end for sure, and very disappointing. But yeah, look, big win for Clemson, and they obviously stay relevant in the title picture. Meanwhile, 7 teams from the SEC in the top 25, but let's be honest, Georgia, Bama, Tennessee Volunteers. That's a really good football team right there, Tennessee.
Absolutely. They're a good football. They're going to be tested against Kentucky. Then the next week, they're going against Georgia. And this is after Georgia, again, has their bye week and everything else. So this is going to be pretty interesting to see, right, how Tennessee can handle that pressure. They handled Alabama. Can they do it again against Georgia? That is the game to see, but they're going against a team that has one of the best defense in the SEC.
Yeah, and that's not good. That's not good. Something's going to look coming off a huge win, really got to flex that offense. It's going to be a much different story this week, obviously, but it was nice. Ovi, it was almost like they got to run a bit of a scrimmage this past week. You know,
Yes.
I don't love them giving up 24 points though. I'll
No,
tell you
but
that.
it's a great strategy that you come from that emotional win. You didn't want to go against another team that is a ranked opponent because by then you'd be like, oh man, now they fall off of the top 5, you know. So there was a good rebound, good practice. So let's see if that helped when they go against Kentucky.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. Yeah. Man. I don't
What's
know,
wrong?
dude. I listen. I think I'm with you, man. I think Hendon Hooker is a stud. I
He
just
is.
wonder. I just wonder if is Tennessee really there? Is
The only
Tennessee
thing
really?
questionable is the defense.
That's my concern.
Look at
You
the
know.
win against Alabama. It was a high score game, 52-49.
Yeah.
What happens with those 49 points? And if that offense is able to score quicker, that defense is going to get more tiring. And that's something you cannot do against Georgia.
Yeah.
It is. It is. But
Now,
hey, go ahead.
well, I was gonna say, we mentioned the Big Ten, and I
Mhm.
gotta tell you, I've been thinking this whole season, and I know Penn State tends to come up short, but I felt like this Penn State team had a chance to either beat Michigan or Ohio State this year, and they obviously didn't go well against Penn State. I don't know. Something's telling me though. This has been a weird There's been a weird football season, both in college and in pro football. It has been bizarre, and I got a bad feeling about Ohio State this week. I just want to put that out there right now.
You think so? Ohio State?
I'm telling you, it's just
Is it because they've been playing against teams that they're not even great and they're just blowing them out? And finally, now they're playing against a ranked team, and
yeah,
it's going to be at Penn State.
and yeah, listen, I thought the Michigan game was going to be the tougher of the two for Penn State, and I'm half right. Now, that's not to say Ohio State can't go down there to Nittany Lionville and put the spank on it, but I don't know. Just something was telling me
Mhm.
that this football team was going to beat one of those two teams this year. Like I thought that much of Penn State.
Mm.
So maybe I'm wrong, but in this season of weird, crazy upsets,
Mhm.
that one just makes too much sense to me.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what's going to happen. But wait, we're going to cover all that because that's the game that's going to happen this weekend. But let's cover more on my top 25 coming up. All right. So, 8 people almost got it right. Now, I'm not worried about the lower, but then the top rankings, I got a feeling they finally got it right. So, brought to you by CMG Central YouTube channel. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's all 4 downs, top 25. Here we go. This is the bracket that's happening in November, so stay tuned to the college football committee. But these are my top 6. But how are they in order? I will let you know right now. Starting from 21 to 25, Syracuse, LSU, UCLA, Kansas State, and South Carolina. Adding South Carolina means that, yes, we add one more to the SEC. That's right. UCLA fell down 6-1. LSU stepping up to the plate, beating a ranked team, and they're crushing teams left and right. They're on the winning streak, so watch out for LSU.
That was a
16
great
to
win
20.
for LSU.
Yes. USC, Illinois, Liberty, Penn State, Kentucky. Look, Kentucky, Penn State, they got a lot going on this weekend. Can they climb right back up in the top 10? We'll have to wait and see on that. 11
Good
to
call
15.
on Liberty, by the way. You've got some guts because no one else is going Liberty.
Nah,
I
I'm
agree with you
surprised.
there.
They
I don't know why that
beat
team is
BYU.
respected, man. Yeah.
They beat BYU and you're not ranking them? I
That's
don't
not right.
understand. I don't understand. Here we go. Ole Miss, Tulane, Utah, North Carolina, Cincinnati, 11 through 15. Now, pay attention to Utah. I do got them at 13. But if you look at my previous ranking, I got USC at 16. But the AP poll has USC on top of Utah. How can you do that?
AP is just so stupid.
That's the only thing I am disagreeing on, because Utah defeated USC.
Right. And so that's a better football team. They played head to head. There's no question who the better and higher ranked team should be. Stop trying to project what you think teams are and rank them for what they are right now.
Right. So TCU, Oregon, Oklahoma State, Wake Forest, 7 through 10, respectively. But TCU is on fire. They are favorites to win the Big 12.
Oh, I'll tell you what, this team could work its way right into the title picture. They've got themselves set up and ready to go. They got a couple big games coming up, but TCU, the sleeper, sitting right where they need to be.
Yes, absolutely. Now, are you ready for my top 6?
Bring it.
Here we go. Georgia, number 1. Michigan, number 2. Ohio State, number 3. Tennessee at number 4. Clemson and Alabama outside looking in is respectively at 5 and 6. Listen, I know Clemson beat Syracuse, but they still don't look like a team that should be in the top 4. Okay. Michigan and Ohio State, you can argue with me, debate me all you want, but the last thing I checked was Michigan defeating Ohio State last season. The same players. They're missing a couple of starters in Michigan. They didn't lose nothing. And Ohio State, yeah, they still got C.J. Stroud. But guess what happened? They stopped C.J. Stroud last year. They could still do it again. That Michigan defense is better than last year. And defense do win championships. That's all I'm saying. So Alabama, yeah, good win. They're a comeback. But still, they're outside looking in. But Georgia and Tennessee, we're going to see that game pretty soon. And that's going to determine which of those two teams are out and which teams from Clemson, Alabama is going to go into the top 4.
Well, you're also laying out the recipe for TCU to make their way into this national championship picture, because dude, the rest of TCU season, if they play their game, they're on their way, and they could finish this season undefeated. As you mentioned, Georgia and Tennessee are going to play, and Michigan and Ohio State are going to play. And guess what? Each of those teams, 2 of those 4 teams are going to walk away with an L. That's obviously going to propel Alabama into the top 4. And I'm telling you, I think it sets TCU up to get into this top 6.
Yes, absolutely. I'm waiting for it. I am. Big
Clemson
shout out to Dennis
really
Carnes.
helped that out. Clemson could have helped that out in a big way, boy.
I'll tell you what, it's going to be interesting. But Dennis Carnes, big shout out to him, biggest follower and supporter. He's giving a shout out to his nephew, who is a long snapper for ECU Pirates. And I think if I'm not mistaken, that's East Carolina. Am I right? I think I am.
Carolina Pirates. Yes, sir.
Absolutely. And then big shout out to Hector V. He was with me in the NFL picks. So if you missed the show, tune into our YouTube channel, NFL picks, because we on fire. I'm telling you, we are definitely on fire.
Victor's speaking about a hell of a year, isn't he?
Yes, he is. I got 16 games to catch up.
Oh, you're getting killed.
Oh yeah, but hey, I'm telling you, it's still 19 weeks, but so is our season in college football. We still got the bowl games.
Now that I'm thinking about it, a 16 game differential makes sense, because he's good and you suck at picking games.
do we have to go there?
I think you're beating me on the season. I didn't say I was good.
Oh, this is college. You gotta love college.
I judge with my heart here. That's what I'm picking with.
Oh, so you're doing like another podcaster that I know. All right. Yeah. But hey, DraftKings have the biddings here. CJ Stroud at number 1, favorite to win the Heisman. Hendon Hooker, Caleb Williams, Blake Corum. Those are the 4 that remain there. And of course, Bryce Young. I'm not really considering Bryce Young to be even in the factor for the Heisman. But I'm surprised Bo Nix, that's climbing. He wasn't even considered and all of a sudden Bo Nix's name is in there. Okay. I would be careful if you're betting for Bo Nix because he did play against Georgia week 1 and he looked like the guy that was playing in Auburn.
Yeah, you did.
Okay. So there's a big difference from playing with SEC games than playing in the Pac 12. It is. Stetson Bennett, he's climbed up. He's been dropping. He's moving up. Still not sold on him. I don't think comparing to him to Hendon Hooker, not even close. Okay. Drake May, Jameer Gibbs, and Spencer Sanders, they're moving on up. But DJ Ugalele is no longer considered a Heisman.
Yeah, he's out. He's definitely got to be out.
Definitely. It's just when you get benched, that's an automatic like removal right there. But
Yeah,
I got my four right here that you see there: Hooker, Corum, Stroud, and Young. Who is your favorite?
Right now, for me, I think it's definitely Hendon Hooker. I think that guy, and I said against Alabama, he would have a chance too. I didn't think he was going to win the game, but I figured it would be his big star breakout moment. And he did me one better, didn't he? And obviously winning that game. I would say probably say CJ Stroud right now for me is number 2. If things work out for USC, I think Caleb Williams probably finishes around 3. Bryce Young's probably going to finish in that top 5 just because, God forbid,
It's Alabama.
it is Alabama's game.
Mhm.
But again, let's say Ohio State wins. I think Blake Corum's got a pretty good makes a pretty good case at that point because that's who's gonna obviously get that one done.
If CJ Stroud throws 4 touchdown passes, I'll put him at number 2.
All right.
Got that.
Yeah, you'll be safe from that then.
Yeah. All right, third down. All right, we got 5 games. Okay. Now I know you're late in the game, Joe, but you either agree or disagree with me. Believe the hype or don't believe the hype. All right. So you could put me in a hot seat. Here we go. Michigan State and Michigan, Ohio State and Penn State. We also have Oklahoma State visiting Kansas State, Kentucky and Tennessee, and Cincinnati and UCF. Excuse me. All right. Starting with the first one, Michigan State versus Michigan. Of course, I am picking Michigan to win. Do you agree or disagree?
Michigan will win the football game, yes.
All right. I personally put that there just because of the amount of the spread we're going to cover later. All right. So I got Michigan on this one. Ohio State versus Penn State. I am picking Ohio State to win.
I disagree with that one. I think Penn State wins with the upset.
I like that. Okay. All right. Oklahoma State and Kansas State. I am picking Oklahoma State to win.
I think this game is one of those games where, Oklahoma State gets in the top 10 and then they blow it to Kansas State, who's usually ranked around 20th. This is where they lose the game to Kansas State.
Now, Oklahoma State did lose their game. That's why they dropped. However, see, they're 6-1 and 3-1 in the Big 12.
Yeah.
But Kansas State usually are on fire in the first half of the season, and then they disappear. And that's why I'm picking Oklahoma State. They're going to make them disappear for good. All right. Kentucky and Tennessee. Thinking. Yeah. Yeah, of course. Thank you very much. I'm picking Tennessee in this game.
Yeah,
I like to see. I would like to see Tennessee and Georgia undefeated and go head to head. I really do.
I think everybody in the country would like that, except for Nick Saban.
Oh, more to follow on that. Cincinnati and UCF. The reason why is because Cincinnati is 3-0 and UCF is 2-1 in the American. But I am picking Cincinnati. Now, look at that spread. I'm taking Michigan with the points, 22.5. Now, for some, they might think that that's too big because of the way Michigan plays. But if you look at Michigan State, they're playing so terrible. Ever since Kenneth Walker went to the NFL, it's just like a different team. Michigan, if you're betting, take that 22.5. As far as the Ohio State game, I'm choosing Penn State 15.5 points. I think it's going to be a closer game because it's at Penn State. Okay. And it's a 12 o'clock game. I got it. But Penn State should be able to make that game close. But I still feel that Ohio State is going to win. On the other side, Oklahoma is an underdog versus Kansas State. And if I'm picking Oklahoma State, bing, there you go. There you have it. Tennessee and Kentucky, they always play a close game no matter what. And you cannot disrespect the Kentucky's defense. 12 and a half points. Come on. I know it's Hendon Hooker, but you got to respect the Kentucky Wildcats here. I'm taking 12 and a half for Kentucky. And lastly, Cincinnati underdog versus UCF. And Cincinnati is leading the conference. Who is this a misprint? Nah, I'm
That's
taking
an easy one.
Cincinnati.
Yeah, lock that
Taking
dough in.
Cincinnati.
Lock that
Yes.
dough in now.
Those are my top 5 games going on DraftKings or Sugar House. So wherever your favorite platform for sports betting, these are my picks. I won last week. I didn't disappoint. I'm going to win again.
I think you're supposed to do that disclaimer. If you have a sports gambling problem, you're like me.
No, but again, I am not affiliated with any sports betting whatsoever. I'm just a fan. But
nobody wants to affiliate with you.
No, of course not. Not in the NFL. Don't not in the NFL. Just college football.
Yeah.
Oh man. But I got one more gripe. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. And this leads to 4th down. Okay. But there's going to be a penalty on this one because you got something else underneath. Okay. So tell me this. You're at the football game. You're the home team. You're the huge underdog. And all of a sudden, your team wins. What is the tradition?
Run out of the field. Pull that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You take the goalpost. You take it out of the stadium. Throw it in the river. For I don't know why. I still don't get that part. I don't know why. However,
what else are you going to do with it?
I mean, you could be like Alabama wide receiver and start punching people in the face, but I mean,
that's not cool.
You know,
yeah,
sell it on eBay. That's
there you go. I bet you somebody would buy that.
Hector says sell it on eBay. Come on,
you want
to
sell it that same night though, while everybody's hammered.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's like that Dr. Pepper commercial trying to look for a field goal post, right? Oh no, you should check my neighbor across the street. But listen. So the SEC are finding schools that allows them, that allow their students to go on the field. Okay. The first offense is, I think, is 100,000, and then it goes up every time. Well, if you don't want them to get on there because of the safety of the personnel on the field, which I understand, then why you allow it to happen? Okay. Why do you allow it to happen? Why don't you build something around so they can't go in there? Or just tell them you are not allowed to be on the field or you will get arrested. Ain't that what people do when they go butt naked and they run around the football field and wait for a football player to tackle them?
Yeah.
And then they go away? What's going on here? How can the NCAA fix this? Okay.
Well, rather than fine a team 100,000 or 250,000, why don't you have them apply that to their security detail to ensure that fans can't run onto the field and do it? Wouldn't that just make I don't understand. You're punishing the school by taking away money that they could apply to securing the field during the game. But see, that's the other thing. It's not like, Tennessee's cutting it close. They're going to get on the PA and be like, in the unlikely event that we go down the field and kick a wobbler through the please stay in your seat. Like, you're not doing that.
Right.
And it's, you get caught up in the moment. It's tradition. It's been happening since they, put goalposts in the ground that you take this son of a bitch out of here for whatever reason. Whoever decided pulling that like 45-foot high structure out of the ground to fall into a crowd of drunken people, whoever thought that was a good, but see, that's the thing too. And you'll notice it's big in the Southern schools, especially.
Yes.
because like tradition means a lot to them. And if it's been happening since like 1875, got to keep on doing it.
Absolutely. But like I said, why find them? Now I know they're putting that
It's
money
dumb.
into another scholarship, but I got a feeling that is bogus, but that's just them saying it. But if you're going to do something, let's do it right. If you're protecting the players on the field, because look, there has been incidents that fans there are drunk and belligerent, yelling at coaches, yelling at this, especially if this is a team, they're a away team,
Yep.
right? You got to do your very best to protect them, such as that wide receiver, Burton, who punched that woman in the face, and then it went viral, but she's not doing anything about it. So that's why everything is settled. But here's my other complaint is we just witnessed a guy hit a woman. Are we not trying to prevent violence? Are
I
we
mean, we
not trying to protect the safety of others as well?
we
You
say
see what I'm
that.
saying?
We say that, and then when it happens, we end up kind of looking the other way.
The NFL has been preaching. I mean, look how far it had to go through for the NFL to really respond, you know, and it's still ongoing. And yet here we are in a college football game, and yet you don't suspend the player or you don't bench your player, but yet it's like, listen, I don't know what the whole picture, but what I saw, it, if you saw me do something, you didn't see what happened before, you just saw what you see in front of you.
Yeah.
Why would you have that? Why are you not doing anything and allow that to happen?
'Cause it's
I'm
all
just,
about
you
all
should
about the
never
kid.
hit anyone anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, again, I mean, these kids get away with murder all the time, and you let one slide, you let everybody slide, and then you have a culture of that kind of stuff, right?
Right.
Didn't
I don't
Devonte
know.
Adams? Didn't Devonte Adams just clip somebody a couple weeks ago?
So he pushed the cameraman out the
Yeah,
way because he was in his way. He was mad. But the thing is, the camera fell, busted his head, right? Got a concussion, and now he's getting sued. Okay. He actually put his hands on him.
yeah,
Now,
good
did he stop in that
consequences
moment?
for your actions.
Did he stop in that moment and said, "Hey, my bad, let me help you up"? No, he kept on walking.
Yeah.
Somebody had to tell him what happened. He knows what happened. Now you're stuck. Maybe you should have stayed your ass in Green Bay,
How about
but
when
that didn't happen.
remember when Matthew Stafford was with his wife and that other woman on stage, and the woman fell off the stage, and he just like, nope, I didn't see that, and walked away. Yeah. That's the culture that we've developed for these young men to just not to not care about other people.
Oh man, it's just ridiculous. But hey, listen, if you're listening to the show, you should never put your hands on a woman. Stay away. If you're mad, if you're upset because you lost the game and anything else, just take a breather, just walk away, you know. But if someone is in your way, don't push them. Go around, do whatever you got to do. Listen to your coaches, just get out the way. I know it's all about talk and everything else, but in a sense, everybody has a camera. You just got to watch yourself. But speaking about that, we'll continue on with the last word, the final whistle. Joe, you got it.
Thank you, Ovi. Well, UCLA and USC, as everybody knows, is headed to the Big Ten. And, well, here comes reports from UCLA and USC. They'll be standing to gain 8 figures. So that's at least $100 million by making their move to the Big Ten. However, it's also being reported that not everybody's pleased with that decision. Former players and coaches think this move's a big mistake, and not just because you're going to have to play Ohio State and Michigan. Part of the charm of the Big 12 was how late they play. It was like the kind of league you stay up for. Now they're going to have to travel halfway across the country for road games where they have little to no geographic rivals and even less reason to care about those games. I mean, part of what makes college football special and programs like UCLA and USC special is the traditions. For the love of God, they can't even sing a different song in Texas. Tradition is so important in this game, and losing some of those longtime rivalries, it's just not sitting well with the boosters and most of all, the former players. This was strictly a financial move for UCLA and USC, but never forget about the human element. It's probably too little too late, but I think it's great to hear so many former players and coaches not pleased with this big move to the Big Ten. Thank you for watching All Four Downs. I'm Joe Aguirre. We'll catch you back here next week for All Four Downs.